Hello everybody, this is Raphael over at Anaheim Automation. Today's tutorial is going to walk you through the steps to get the Android development environment set up. The things required for this are the Java JDK, Android SDK, Android development tools, and the actual Eclipse development environment. Let's go to our browser. First thing we want to do is download the Java JDK, so I'm just going to Google Java JDK. First thing that comes up is the Oracle website. So once we're here, we want to go to the Java JDK download. I've had problems with this in the past with the Android SDK not being able to define the executable of the Java JDK. There are a number of fixes for this, one of them being setting an environment variable. Another is to change the file path in your registry, and I've even heard of people just getting to that error, clicking back, and then clicking next, and Android has found it. I recommend downloading the 64-bit if you have a 64-bit operating system, or the 32-bit version if you have a 32-bit operating system. But none of those have worked for me. The only thing that's worked for me is downloading the 32-bit. While that's downloading, let's go ahead and download the Android SDK as well. So I'm just going to Google Android SDK. The developer site is the first thing that comes up, so let's go ahead and click on that. So we want the recommended download, which is the R18 version, just an executable. Let's go ahead and download that as well. Okay, that's downloading, and the last thing we're going to want to download is the Eclipse environment. So let's go ahead and download that as well. Eclipse. So the first thing that comes up is eclipse.org. Let's just go ahead and select that. Take us straight to the website. Once we're here, we want to click into Downloads. Select the Eclipse IDE for Java EE developers, Windows 64-bit for me. It might be different for you if you have a 32-bit, which you have that option. This takes us to a mirror site. Let's go ahead and download from Virginia Tech. Alright, that's downloading as well. So we have all these downloads running. So we're just going to have to wait a minute, sit tight, wait for them all to finish, and then we'll continue. Okay, now all our downloads have finished downloading. So let's start with the Java JDK and let's run that. Yes. This is just a basic installation, so just go ahead and click next. Next. It's our destination folder. Let's go ahead and click next. I'm okay with that. Also with this package, we're also going to be installing Java FX. We don't really have a choice, it's just part of the package. So once the JDK is finished installing, we'll be prompted to install Java FX. Go ahead. So it's successfully installed. It's going to want us to register, so I'm going to click continue. Here we go, the Java FX SDK setup. So let's go ahead and click next. This is the installation folder. I'm fine with that. Let's go ahead and click next. So now we're just going to run through the install once again. So now the Java FX SDK setup is complete. Let's go ahead and click close. We might get a new pop-up saying register your software. I do not want to do that right now, so next thing we want to do is run the Android SDK installer, which is right here. So let's go ahead and click on that. Yes, I do want this program to make the following changes. So prior to installing the 32-bit Java JDK, I was trying to install the Java 64-bit JDK, and upon clicking next with the 64-bit version JDK, I would get an error right here saying Java JDK not found. But since it is found in this location, we don't get an error and we're allowed to press next. So I'll do that. Like I said before, there are multiple fixes for that problem. You can try all the above. Just Google Java JDK not found by Android SDK during installation, and it'll route you to multiple forums with multiple solutions. And like I said, other solutions worked for other people. I don't know why they didn't work for me, but you're more than welcome to try that. So I'm gonna go ahead and click next. Android SDK tools, next, or install. Installation complete. Let's click next. So this is go ahead and start the SDK manager, which we do want. The SDK manager is basically what allows us to download all of Android's operating systems. So operating systems Android 1.5 all the way to the most current one, 4.0. So we're going to go ahead and install Android 2.1 for this tutorial because 2.1 is the minimum SDK that most platform or most Android devices can run on. So let's go ahead and remove this installed. Alright, so it's done loading all the packages available to us. So I'm going to go ahead and deselect this. I'm going to select the tools, because more than likely we'll need all those. I'm going to select all the extras as well. And now I'm going to run through all of these checkboxes to make sure nothing else is checked besides the 2 checkboxes I just checked and Android 2.1. Because these are really large packages, so I just want to download the ones that I need. So let's go ahead and click on that. Alright, and here we're trying to install 13 packages. Click install. Accept all. Install. Once we're finished installing all of these, the next step is going to run Eclipse. There's no installation process because Eclipse is a standalone piece of software. So once we're in Eclipse, we're going to tell Eclipse where the Android SDK is, and once we do that, Eclipse will have access to these platforms, meaning Android 2.1 or whatever other Android operating systems we decide to download. Finally, all our packages are finished downloading, so I'm going to go ahead and close this, close the SDK manager as well, and now I'm going to run it. Let's go ahead and try to unzip this file. So extract files. Okay. Let's drag this to our desktop. Delete this. Yes. Okay, like I said, Eclipse is a standalone package, so once you download it, you have it. So if I were to click on this application, it would just run. But first thing, or what I like to do is place this in program files just like any other application, because cancel, because I think I moved it to common files. Continue. Just like any other application, I want it in my program file. So next thing I'm going to do, this is just a preference, you can do whatever you want, is I'm going to pin this to my taskbar so that way I have access at all times from my desktop. So let's go ahead and enter the Eclipse environment. So this is where I declare my workspace. My workspace is the directory where I'm going to be saving everything. So I'm okay with this. It's just in my documents workspace. So use this as a default. Don't ask again. Okay. So this is the welcome screen. If you want to go to tutorials, an overview, samples, what's new. That's all that this has to offer. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this. Now I'm going to go to help, install new software, and what I want to do is install the ADT plugin. This is Android Development Tools plugin. So I'm going to go ahead and go to add, name it ADT plugin, and this is going to go to a URL and download our plugin. So I have to give it the proper URL to go to. So we're going to go dl-ssl.google.com/android/eclipse/. So press OK. Now it's going to go searching that URL for the downloads that we need. This should say development tools, I believe, once it's done, or once it finds it. So there we go, developer tools. Let's see what it comes with. And yes, let's select all of them. Click next. Now that it's finished downloading, let's go ahead and click next. And next once again. I do accept the terms and conditions, so finish. Now it's in. So we are prompted with a warning saying this is unsigned content, but since this is straight from Google, we're just going to go ahead and press OK to continue. So let's go ahead and restart the Eclipse environment. So, okay, this is what I was referring to when it asked for the SDK directory. So you can go ahead and install it if you didn't do so right here. And right here is the reason we installed Android 2.1. 97% of phones and tablets you can use this. So you can run any 2.1 application on virtually any phone or tablet. But we already have an SDK, so we're just going to use the existing SDK. So let's go ahead and browse. Go to computer. C, program files, 32-bit, Android SDK. Select OK. Next, do not want to send statistics to Google. If you want to, go ahead, feel free. Let's go ahead and click finish. Okay, see, we have the Android SDK installed, because right here you see the SDK manager and the ABD manager. So it's